Hey guys, I want to show you how to take a kitchen cupboard door, one that's been salvaged or reclaimed, and turn it into a chalkboard today. So you can pick up all these cupboard doors at thrift stores, salvage yards, places like that. And there's all different kind of sizes, styles, whatever you want to match your kitchen or your decor. And it's really easy to turn them into chalkboards. The first thing you need to do is remove all the hardware off. Now you can see on this one there actually wasn't any hardware. The hardware was on the back and it's already been removed. So I'm all good there. I don't have to remove anything. And I'm going to show you how to turn this into, you can use black or vintage colored chalk paint. So you can have both looks. You can have that vintage chalkboard look from when, back in the 70s, that vintagey kind of look. Or you can turn it into a black chalkboard like today. So we want to start by painting the outside rim, and I'm going to use some Fusion Mineral Paint in limestone. It's just this really pretty kind of creamy white color. And I'm going to use a technique for the outside called dry brushing. So I don't want much paint on my brush, and I'm just going to paint the outside here. I like the rustic look, so I don't mind if this is not really opaque and really covered. I really want it to be rusticy when I'm done. So I'm not going to worry too much about how much paint I put on the frame part. So you don't have to paint the back if this is going on a wall, which most would. You just want to worry about the sides and the top. Just give the top a little finish here. And I don't have to worry about painting the inside because that's going to be painted with whatever color of chalkboard paint I decide to use. And I have some done so I can show you what they're going to look like. So that's all you need to do for the frame. And you can see because I dry brushed the frame, the paint is really thin, so it's going to dry really quickly. Now, if you had one this style and you want your chalkboard just to be on this center strip, I would go ahead and paint the inside. If you want your chalkboard to come all the way out to the edge, then you can just paint the frame like I did. So there's two choices when you're making the inside of your chalkboard. You can use something like a Rust-Oleum chalkboard paint, and this one is a nice black color. This is for all the modern chalkboards that we see, the black. And when you're using the Rust-Oleum chalkboard paint, you can pick this anywhere up, like Home Depot, places like that. You need to put probably a minimum of 2 coats on. So when you're putting it on, make sure to leave it 24 hours between each coat so it really adheres. And you want to leave it when you're done your 2 coats for a minimum of 3 days before you start to use this. So I'll show you here. And you can see it's really kind of a blue color, but when it dries, it's black. So you want to make sure that this is really stirred up well when you're using it because it will settle. So make sure this is really stirred up. And I'm going to show you here on my board. I'm going to show you just the top part. If I wanted to do just this top part, I would paint thin layers to begin. I don't want it too thick because I don't want it to have too many ridges in it. So I'm going to paint this top part, and I'm going to leave a gap here just so you can see the difference on this one. And I'm just going to go around the edge. And after this is dry, the first coat, I'll go back and put a second coat on, and it'll really start to, build up and it'll fill in all those grooves. So when I'm done my first coat here, I like to take my paintbrush and make sure I'm going all the same direction. So I'm just going to go back over it and make sure my strokes are going all in the same direction. So when I do my second coat, it'll fill in all those grooves and nooks and crannies, and it'll be nice and smooth for a chalkboard. So you can see this is the perfect this cupboard door. I picked this one up because I really like the shape of it. Like if you just want to write one word across, if you were using this in your living room or your dining room, you could write anything, a word across here. And because it's chalkboard, you can keep changing it. So if you want to put gather for Thanksgiving, something for Christmas on here, blessings maybe, family, whatever you want, this is a perfect one to just write one word across. I've also gone ahead and mixed up some milk paint here, and this is Miss Mustard Seed milk paint. And I've mixed up 3 parts boxwood and 1 part artissimo. So that gives you this really pretty kind of vintage green color. And I've let that sit for a little while so it's gotten thick. And I'll show you what that one's going to look like. I'll show you just on the side of the board here so you get an idea of what this color looks like when it's wet. If you can see it here, the difference between the green and the black. So this green one really has that old time kind of chalkboard look from when we were in school. And they used to have these, they had green chalkboards for a long time because they thought it was a lot easier to see the yellow chalk on the green instead of the black. So that green color really reminds me of when I was a kid. So I like doing them in that color too. So I'm going to put this aside and I'm going to show you what they look like when they're dry and what the difference is. I'm going to put this aside because I already had one mishap today where it fell on the carpet. So this is the black. This is the Rust-Oleum, the chalkboard paint, and this is what it looks like when I have 2 coats on it. Now I've already seasoned these boards and I'll show you how to do that in just a second. And this is the green. So you can see the difference between the Rust-Oleum and this is Miss Mustard Seed. This is just milk paint and you can see that it's got a different color to it, more of that vintage color. And I'm just going to wipe this off here because I want to show you how to season a chalkboard. So like I said, with the Rust-Oleum, you have to wait 3 days after your last coat before you can write on it. With the milk paint or any other kind of paint, you can write on it right away. You don't have to wait like that. But no matter what paint you're using, no matter what it is, you want to make sure you're seasoning your chalkboard before you write on it. If you don't season it, this is what happens. You get these permanent marks in it that you won't be able to get out. So by seasoning it, you won't have these marks left after you use it. And seasoning a chalkboard is really easy. Once your paint is dry, and I'm going to let this one dry since I wet it, and I'll show you on the bottom here. All you do is take your piece of chalk and just rub it across. You want to do it horizontally and vertically. And this will season it so that when you use it, it doesn't leave those marks. So it just takes away all of those little grooves and everything. And then you can wipe it, just wipe your chalk off. And then it's ready to use. That's all you need to do. But that's a really important step that people forget all the time, is to season their chalkboards. Because if you don't season it, like I said, you've kind of ruined it because you're going to get those permanent marks. But as soon as you season it like this, I can go ahead and make any marks with any kind of chalk and they'll wipe off perfectly. So you can see they're off there. So you can see the difference between the green, the vintage color one, and the dark one. And as a little extra, I've taken this one and painted it with some Fusion mineral paint, and I used just 3 different kind of primitive colors here because I just wanted to show you. And I did season this, so I went ahead and seasoned it. And this is just normal paint. There's nothing I did to it. I'm just going to wipe off around the edges here, and I'll show you the natural paint color. This is just normal paint, and because I've seasoned it, I can go ahead and write on it. Whoops, my chalk broke there. So you can go ahead and write on it just like it's a chalkboard. And it will, because I seasoned it, I can wipe it off and it'll wipe off perfectly. So that's just a little fun thing that you can use for any kind of paint. And this one was Fusion mineral paint that I used, and it will come right off. So you can really turn anything you want into a chalkboard. Thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you have learned all about how to turn cabinet doors into chalkboards. If you have any questions, be sure to pop over to the blog at recreateddesigns.com or the Facebook page, and you can search Recreated Designs. Thanks, and have a great day.